The mid-market segment in general is very different. This video is going to provide you the top 10 mid-size ERP systems for 2023. Let's dive in. Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients with ERP selection, digital transformation. So let's get back to today's topic, which is going to be top 10 mid-sized ERP systems for 2023. Before we do that, let's discuss what defines this mid-market segments. Typically, these businesses are going to be the revenue anywhere from 50 million to $1 billion in revenue. They might have less than 1,000 employees, might be present in, let's say, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries. But at this point of time, at the stage of their life cycle, they are not going to find the operational efficiencies just based on the transactional nature of the ERP system. They have to do more with the ERP system, and that is going to be in terms of how they are doing their planning and scheduling. And that's where you are probably going to require a lot of consulting help to make sure your data is going to be aligned, your processes are going to be aligned with the way the planning is going to work with the ERP system. And if you have multiple systems in the architecture, then you need to make sure that they all are going to be in congruence with each other to be able to get the business results that you might be hoping from your ERP system. So this is really a scale phase for most organizations, and that's where the mid-market segment differs. To compile this list, we look at several different factors. For example, the market share by the mid-market centric organizations. We look at the quality of code documentation. We look at the community, the reviews, the acquisition strategy for the product share. So these are some of the factors that we look at when we compile this list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is QAD. Last year we had Unit 4. So there's a little bit of change there. QAD product targets automotive, food and beverage centric organizations. These are going to be slightly larger organizations that are going to be very supply chain heavy. You can get a lot more pre-integrated supply chain centric capabilities that you will need to integrate, or you need to use a best of breed product with some of the other products. Now the question you need to be asking, whether can you use the supply chain functionality as part of the ERP system. Some organizations might be okay, but when you look at these deep planning cycles, it requires a lot of training on the ERP product. So sometimes what companies do is they are going to be using a best of breed planning product, but they might use the ERP for the transactional needs. But if you are looking for that integrated seamless experience, that's where QAD is really going to shine when your planning is going to be tight, especially with organizations such as automotive, where the complete production is going to be dependent upon how accurate you are going to be in planning and how tightly coupled you are going to be with your customers as well as vendors. The strength for QAD is going to be the deeper international trade and TMS capabilities. QAD product is all about the tight integration of the processes, and some of the other systems on this list might use a best of breed product, for example TMS. So you are not going to get that embedded experience that you might be hoping. But let's say if your warehouse or TMS architecture is going to be very different from your ERP architecture, for example, let's say if you have many different warehouses where you have to have a best of breed solution on top of your ERP, that's where QAD might struggle. But if you're looking for that embedded immersive experience, QAD really shines there. The other strength for QAD is going to be it's very supply chain focused. So supply chain folks are absolutely going to love it, just because they are going to get a lot more features that they will not find with any other systems. The weakness for QAD is going to be the backend technology is still very legacy. So they have provided a very appealing UI layer that can allow you for easier customizations. But when you are going to be looking for slightly deeper customizations, that's where QAD might struggle. You will rely on QAD to provide the support for your customizations on top of. The ecosystem is going to be equally limited as well. The partner ecosystem is not as great in general with QAD. So you are going to be relying on QAD a lot for the support, as well as the infrastructure is not as mainstream as some of the other products. They don't use AWS or Azure for everything, and that could be a concern just because the smaller vendors that might not be as well funded, they have higher risk of not able to meet the SLA or any other concerns from the business continuity perspective. So that's going to be a concern with QAD as well. Having said that, QAD is still a very strong product for mid-market automotive centric as well as the food and beverage organizations, and that's why it ranks at number 10 on our list. Now, number 9 on our list is Plex. Last year also we had Plex, so there is no change there. Plex has very similar target market as your QAD, and Plex also is going to have very deep shop floor capabilities. It's not going to have as deep supply chain capabilities. Sure, it's going to have a little bit of SNOP, at least for the automotive centric organization. That's where Plex does really well. It's primarily present in Toyota ecosystem. It also does well. Now they have released functionality for Ford ecosystem as well. Plex claims that they do well in some of the other verticals as well, for example food and beverage, but again the presence is going to be limited in all of those verticals. Plex is primarily an automotive ERP system that is going to have very deep MES capability. So if you are a very MES and Industry 4.0 driven organization, Plex could be a great fit for you. The strength with Plex is going to be the shop floor perspective. It's cloud native, so the technology is going to appear very appealing in general. So that's the beauty of Plex. The weaknesses for Plex is going to be not fit for companies with complex business model. For example, let's say if you are going to be doing field service, complex manufacturing, project-centric manufacturing, Plex may not have all of those capabilities. If you are a pure play supplier for, let's say, Toyota, or the manufacturer for Toyota, Plex could be a great system for you. Now, the ERP capabilities are probably going to be afterthought with Plex. The ERP capabilities are not going to be as strong in general because, again, the focus was very MES centric. That's how they started. So it's going to have very strong MES, but deep core ERP capabilities, they are not going to be as strong. The ecosystem is not going to be as strong either. They will expect you to work in the self-service mode. So that could be a challenge overall from the implementation perspective as well. Having said that, Plex is still a very strong solution for mid-market organizations, and that's why it ranks at number 9 on our list. Now, number 8 on our list is the solution called Unit 4. Last year we had Apicode Kinetic, so a little bit of change there. Unit 4 targets public sector centric organizations, not for profit, universities, schools. That's where Unit 4 is going to have very deep operational capabilities as well as a lot of P2P capabilities that typically reside in a P2P system. So for those organizations, Unit 4 is going to provide a lot of best of breed capabilities integrated as part of your Unit 4 product. The strength for Unit 4 is going to be the public sector as well as the university operational functionality that you are not going to find with any other product. For the most part, they are going to struggle in the pre-integrated best of breed functionality for these verticals. Now, it also has the integrated ACM as well as procurement processes. ACM processes are going to be present in Plex, but Plex targets slightly more manufacturing centric organization. So it's a similar strategy as Plex and QAD, but for different market segments. It's a great alternative for vanilla ERP. For example, let's say if you're going with SAP S4 or Oracle Cloud ERP, Unit 4 can provide great best of breed capabilities for these verticals. The weaknesses for Unit 4 is going to be the limited mid-market presence. It's installed in very large accounts in general in those verticals. So the mid-market presence is not there yet. And it's a very European-centric solution. They have a limited presence in North America at this point of time. And it's not going to be as diverse as some of the other products because it focuses on that specific market segments. So if you are a pure play in that space, then you can get a lot of value from this product. But if you are a diverse organization, it may not be the best fit. On that note, Unit 4 is still a very strong solution for mid-market companies, and that's why it ranks at number 8 on our list. Now, number 7 on our list is going to be the product called Infor Cloud Suite Industrial. Last year, we had Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central at number 7. So a little bit of change there. Infor Cloud Suite Industrial targets the mixed mode manufacturing organizations, and it's localized and globalized in roughly more than 10 countries. So you can get a lot more as part of your Infor Cloud Suite Industrial product. It has very deep manufacturing-centric functionality. Whether you talk about the engineer to order, configure to order, make to stock, all of those patches can be part of just one solution. And then let's say if you are going to be doing a lot of field service, the field service is integrated very well. If you are going to be very heavy BOM organization and require manipulation of those BOMs, that's where Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is going to shine. But let's say if you have a long lead time for the product, for example, let's say if you're building very complex manufacturing product, Infor Cloud Suite Industrial may not be the best fit, just because it's the way its BOMs are structured. It's really designed for the products that can be produced within a day. More than that, then you would probably require a lot of customization add-ons. Now, the strength for Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is going to be its mixed mode manufacturing, global capabilities, as well as pre-integrated best-of-breed solutions such as your CPQ as well as CRM that are already part of your Infor OS suite. Now, the weakness for Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is going to be it's not going to be as diverse, and the UX experience is very legacy as well, and the ecosystem is not going to be as strong as some of the other products on this list. Having said that, Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is still a very strong product for mid-market organizations, and that's why it ranks at number 7 on our list. Now, number 6 on our list is the product called Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. Last year, we had Infor Cloud Suite Industrial. We have downgraded Infor Cloud Suite Industrial just because of the limitations of the solution in terms of how many patches it can be implemented. And we have seen some issues overall with the solution. That's why we have downgraded. Now, Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is slightly superior product, especially for mid-market organizations. And the reason for that is because it's going to be slightly more diverse in nature. You can find a lot more add-ons on top of your Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, especially if you're going to have very complex business. But with add-ons, you are always going to have a risk depending upon the quality of the code, depending upon the quality of the vendor. So you would require far stronger vetting in general with the product. But overall, it's designed for very complex, diverse organization. If you are going to be very active in the M&A space, that's where Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is going to be really handy in accommodating some of the patches that might not be known to you as of today. The strength for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is going to be its cloud native UI. It has been completely re-architected on cloud, so it's going to have very similar experience as your NetSuite or Acumatica. Now, the ecosystem is very strong as well as the marketplace is very strong overall with Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. The weakness for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is going to be it has limited operational functionality. It also has weak data model in general, although it can be customized. But again, when you customize a lot, sometimes you might struggle with the performance of the core system just because those customizations may not be able to support the underlying data structure or underlying product architecture. So you have all of those concerns with Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. Also, the other concern is Microsoft Channel in general is very hands-off. So they don't have the same control that you are going to find with some of the other ERP systems on this list. And we see a lot of failure in the Microsoft space just because of that issue. Having said that, Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is still a very strong product, and that's why it ranks at number 6 on our list. Now, number 5 on our list is Infor Cloud Suite LN and M3. Last year, we had NetSuite at number 5. So some changes there. Now, Infor Cloud Suite LN and M3 are very strong mixed mode manufacturing product targeted for very specific micro vertical. And that's where, if you are going to be a very complex organizations, let's say in aerospace, automotive for LN, and apparel retail centric organizations for M3, that's where these two products are going to shine. You are going to get a lot of pre-baked integrations as part of the suite. For example, PLM is very common in these spaces, and the PLM integration could be very tricky in general with the ERP just because of the amount of data that you need to exchange. So Infor Cloud Suite Industrial LN and M3 could be great product for those verticals that are going to require a lot more functionality as part of the suite, and they require deep planning capabilities that you will find with some of the other larger solutions. But at the same time, you are also going to find the best of breed or the last mile capabilities as part of the suite. Now, the strength for Infor Cloud Suite LN and M3 is going to be, it's a complete suite for complex manufacturing orgs. You are also going to get best of breed capabilities pre-integrated, whether you talk about the supply chain capabilities pre-integrated, whether you talk about the WFM capabilities pre-integrated, WMS, that's where it makes Infor Cloud Suite LN and M3 very powerful for the mid-market organizations, and the micro vertical capabilities are going to be strong as well. The weakness for Infor Cloud Suite LN and M3 is going to be, it's not as diverse, and the UX is going to be legacy, and the ecosystem is not going to be as strong. So you are still probably relying on Infor's expertise to provide the consulting services. Having said that, Infor Cloud Suite LN and M3 both are very strong products for mid-market organizations, and that's why it ranks at number 5 on our list. Now, number 4 on our list is the product called Sage X3. Last year we had Sage X3 as well at number 4. So no changes there. Sage X3 is a very process manufacturing centric product, and it's designed for the mid-market organizations that are going to be anywhere from 500 million to roughly a $2-3 billion range. That's where Sage X3 really shines for the process manufacturing verticals, whether you talk about agriculture, food and beverage, you talk about chemical manufacturing, pharma, that's where Sage X3 is really strong. Now, the strength for Sage X3 will be the micro vertical functionality for pharma and agriculture that you are not going to find with any other products. It's ideal for public and audit centric firms. So if you are going to be really deep in accounting as well as finance, that's where Sage X3 really shines. You are going to get the same perspective probably that you are going to get with either SAP or Oracle. From the finance perspective, Sage is equally strong from finance. Other operational product that you may have on this list may not be as strong from the accounting and finance perspective. And when you have the financial reporting very complex, that's where Sage X3 really shines. And the CFO perspective, CFOs typically love Sage X3. Now, the weakness for Sage X3 is going to be the discrete manufacturing capabilities are not going to be as strong and too big for smaller manufacturing companies. They will find it overwhelming. And the integration through marketplaces are not going to be as prevalent in general. Having said that, Sage X3 is still a very strong product for the process manufacturing organizations in the mid-market space, and that's why it ranks at number 4 on our list. Now, number 3 on our list is the product called Deltek. Last year we had Deltek at this spot, so no changes there. Deltek targets project-centric organizations, government contractors, the construction, the architecture specific organizations. So Deltek can do really well in very large construction-centric professional services organizations that are going to be slightly more in the construction space. The strength for Deltek is going to be the micro vertical functionality for GovCon when you talk about the DACA compliance, when you talk about the compliance that are going to be very government focused, the way the RFP, the contracts are going to be, that's where Deltek is going to be really strong. It's ideal for companies that are going to be heavy in project management, and the multi-entity capabilities are going to be global as well. The weakness for Deltek will be that it's not as suitable for manufacturing. So when you are going to be, let's say, government contractor, but then you are doing a little bit of manufacturing as well, it could be challenging. So you need to really find out whether you care for deep government-centric functionality that is going to be more expensive for you to configure, develop, or it is going to be manufacturing functionality. So that's why you would require deeper technical as well as financial capabilities to be able to assess the total cost of ownership for this solution. And Deltek is not going to be as diverse when you are going to be manufacturing, distribution, construction, field service, then you are doing a little bit of GovCon work. That's where Deltek is probably going to struggle. The CRM capabilities are going to be weak as well. And typically, Deltek gets installed with Salesforce. So if you're using Salesforce and then you require Deltek for project management, government contractor functionality, then Deltek could be a great fit. Having said that, Deltek is still a very strong product for the government contractors as well as the architectural and the construction mid-market companies, and that's why it ranks at number 3 on our list. Now, number 2 on our list is NetSuite. NetSuite is a very strong product overall from the finance and accounting perspective. It has out-of-the-box capabilities for finance and accounting for roughly 100 countries, and that's a big deal. It also has very strong inventory and the operational capabilities. It's not going to be as strong as some of the other best of breed products for specific industries, but they are going to struggle with the diverse capabilities when you are going to have very complex business model. That's why NetSuite does really well when your company is going to be very deep into M&A activity. Let's say if you are acquiring 1 or 2 companies every year, or maybe 10 a year, or if you are part of the PE portfolio where they are looking to sell after 5 years, then NetSuite could be a great fit, because typically NetSuite can accommodate a lot of different business model. So if all of those businesses are going to be on the same ERP system, typically you are going to have very deep synergies that you can capitalize from the financial planning perspective. And that's why NetSuite does really well in those spaces for mid-market organization. But obviously the con with NetSuite is going to be that you are not going to have as deep operational capabilities, that you need to find either add-ons or you need to build it yourself. So that's going to be a con for NetSuite. The other strength for NetSuite is going to be it's a great fit for channel-centric, commerce-centric organizations. It's going to have the strongest global accounting capabilities, especially in the cloud-native world. And the ecosystem is very strong as well in finding a lot of different solutions to support many different business models. The weakness for NetSuite will be weak operational capabilities for B2B as well as manufacturing, and requires too many add-ons. Having said that, NetSuite is still a very strong product for mid-market organizations, and that's why it ranks at number 2 on our list. Now, number 1 on our list is IFS. Last year we had IFS as well. IFS is a very strong solution for oil and gas, energy, project-centric organizations that are going to require very deep asset management as well as the field service capabilities. Sometimes IFS is used in the best of breed manner, where you are going to have companies that are going to have the crews as big as, let's say, 500,000 employees that are doing the field service or service work, and typically that they are going to be using IFS plus SAP S/4HANA or Oracle Cloud ERP for the financials, but IFS is going to be used either for field service or the asset management capabilities. But the other strength for IFS is going to be great fit for MRO, airline-centric verticals, as well as oil and gas and energy and project-centric organizations. Deep capabilities for field service, EAM, as well as the UX is going to be very cloud-native, the way you are going to find with some of the other cloud-native products. The weakness for IFS is going to be limited North American presence. Ecosystem is going to be limited as well, and probably too big for the smaller mid-market firms, especially if you are going to be closer to, let's say, 50 million, $100 million in revenue, then IFS may not be the best fit. Typically, you are looking for IFS when you are looking for options that are going to have far deeper operational capabilities and looking for replacement for SAP S/4HANA or Oracle Cloud ERP. That's where IFS is really going to fit in. So that's it for the list. Just to recap, we reviewed the list for 2023, the ERP systems for mid-market businesses. If you enjoyed this list, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We publish these videos on a weekly basis. We also have the audio format of the podcast called WBS Rocks. So hit the subscribe button on Apple, Spotify, as well as Google. We are also going to include the link for the article that is going to have far deeper analysis of this list. So check that out. And if you have not checked our digital transformation report for 2023, we include a lot of these lists as well as best practices for the ERP as well as digital transformation initiatives. So check that out. On that note, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.